Yo, welcome back to another episode of Not the Shot Podcast. It's your boy Mac Mall and my co-host
Money Team Mail in the building.
You dig. We got a special guest today, my boy. Hey, this 30 years in the building right now. Shit finna get for real. What's up, my boy?
Man, I'm happy to be here, man.
Man, it's good to see you, my boy, man.
Hey, man, salute to y'all, man. Love what y'all
It's
doing.
definitely a blessing. We know you be in and out of town, man. We caught you between trips.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, I just want to say first and foremost, we appreciate you for coming out. You know, it was hard making this happen. And you fit your boy in, you know.
Hey, come on, man. I appreciate it. It's family, so, man, I appreciate y'all having me.
Man, that's what's up, man. So, first of all, I want to congratulate you on the album, the clothing line and everything you're doing, man. I think it's fucking amazing, man.
I appreciate it, bro.
And man, you one of the brothers that I personally know. You know, we got history, man, close history. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And man, we gonna get right into it, man, because we got a story, man. You know, it's
For sure.
I just want to say first and foremost, man. You know, you always been a humble nigga. But I want to give you your flowers, man, for being there for me,
man,
when
love.
I needed you.
That's love. That's
you know,
love.
back in the day when, you know, a nigga was in between blessings.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
you was always a nigga that reached out.
And it
and
ain't
gave-
never spoke on it.
Yeah,
you
he
know
never
what I'm saying?
spoke on it, man.
It's
You know,
family, you know.
man,
what
you
I'm
know,
saying?
and I just want to get on camera, on record, showing that I appreciate you, and I'm gonna give you flowers. You know what I mean?
appreciate that.
And I can pretty much stand on you. Out of a lot of niggas, I can stamp you a real nigga, bro. Like
appreciate
real
that.
shit. And that's from the heart, man.
I appreciate it.
So I'm gonna give my boy I'm gonna give him his flowers, man. You know,
Hey.
real shit, man.
Hey.
Hey, real
but,
shit, man.
But that's real in that talk, because it take a real man to do what you just did.
Man, for sure.
You know, we
Definitely.
don't show love, you know what I'm saying, like that.
It ain't too many real ones on left, man.
For sure, for sure. So before we get into this interview, man, why don't you tell these people who you are, man, and where they can reach you and what you got going on.
Cool. I'm Realionaire Money. You know, for those who know me, it's Greg McNeil. But you know, I take on the new name of Realionaire. Realionaire is a purpose-driven individual with core values money can't buy. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's enough Realionaires out here, so I'm here to recruit more Realionaires. You can tap in with me on IG at Realionaire_money. REALIONAIRE, and that'll connect you to all other pages as well.
For sure,
you know, with the apparel brand and the music and everything else. Yeah,
definitely. For sure. Before we get into the history, I want to know what inspired you to make music.
Man, what's crazy is, I was around. You know, when I was in the streets, I had everybody had a record label. So I wasn't inspired to do music at that time. I was more into supporting my brothers who was trying to really pursue music, and you being one of them at the time, and London, shout out to Ace, Platinum Plus, you know, all those guys. And I was basically putting the money behind them because I'm like, man, y'all got a dream. I'm finna support the dream no matter what. But what was crazy was my mother died. And when my mother died, I started writing for therapy because my mother was like my best friend. So I'm like, man, how am I finna get over this loss? So I just started writing and the writing turned into a healthy brand of music, you know, free of, you know, no profane language, no glorification of the guns and drugs, because I really come from that. No killing, you know, we ain't using the N-words, nothing in none of the music, but it's still hard street music because I really live what I'm talking about, so it became so easy for me to write it. Like a lot of times, you got a lot of these artists who talk about stuff, but they ain't never really lived it.
For sure.
Yeah, so it make it
Some
easy
shit
for
they
me
saw
to pen
somebody
it.
else
Yeah.
do.
It make it easy for me to pen it because I ain't just saw it. I really was.
What year you started writing when you lost your mother?
Yeah, I'm gonna say like 2.5 years ago. And I done did maybe like 100 songs.
But I mean, it started before that, man, because you had tracks with us and shit. Like
Playing
you was
around.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. So
I
like,
been taking it serious.
Right.
I was inspired by y'all then, but I never was like, man, I could just write this.
So when was that, when you was dipping and dabbling?
Man, that was early 2000 when Marlon was going crazy.
yeah.
My father,
All them drunk squad
before it was
days.
a Rick Ross, It was people think he didn't like if he ever did a song now, he copying raw. Nah, that man sounded how he sounded
back then.
Back then.
For sure, man. So, so I want to talk a little bit about your background. So, obviously, you came from you had a good support system, mom,
mother,
and father, and shit like that. We actually went to high school together. But what area did you come from?
I'm originally from the Henry Horner Projects, originally. And then after that, I moved toward more out west. Grew up on Mayfield for some time. And then after that, it was Pulaski Road.
Right.
Yeah.
Pulaski and what?
Everything over on Pulaski. But I started
Pulaski.
out Jackson and Pulaski. But then I merged over to on Monroe and Hamlin. Springfield area. Shout out to my people over there, Quick them, and Boss Hog. And then, man, also Jackson, California, believe it or not.
Right.
I was over there as well.
Right.
As far as like land that I was actually operating on.
Right. So, when we met in high school, you was actually playing basketball and shit. You was hooping and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Student.
Yeah, I remember that because I think
foot
maybe
in, 1 foot out.
Right. I think maybe you were a junior when I was a freshman, or was it?
Yeah, I graduated in I think 95.
I came in 94.
Okay, so hold on.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
both of y'all went to Taft.
Yeah.
Because I know y'all know each other, but don't nobody else know what's going on.
Yeah. It's way. We go back.
So what area you grew up on? Mayfield and what? North Avenue?
Nah,
Or?
from there, when I ended up going to Taft, I think about like my freshman, sophomore year, I was on division.
Okay.
I ended up on the DIV.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that's how you end up on the north side going to Taft and all that?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
Right. So so growing up as a kid, what age was you when you like jumped off the porch and said, I hoop, but I want to dib and dab in the streets? What inspired that, and what age was you?
When we was coming up, it was players. It was a lot of structure. The heads was still out, but they still was giving the youth guidance at the time. So like they knew I had potential. I played ball, so they wasn't no just hanging out and just go to school. It was different. But I saw it, and I always had that hustler mentality in me. But it wasn't until my mother and father fell victim to certain evils of the streets that I decided like, man, I got to get out here and fend for myself, because the home living wasn't the same no more. Went from a 2-parent functional home to disarray. So I'm like, man, it's my opportunity to try to tiptoe out here. And
So your mom and dad separated?
Nah, when the drug epidemic got heavy, they end up falling victim to it. They stayed together, family was still strong. And they ain't never, do nothing like leave us behind or get to a point where they stealing out the house or none of that. But, it just was, we went from a certain structure with 2 parents who on top of everything and handling business. And then it went to, the drugs became more of a focus and not
the family.
Us as much, the family structure. And then I looked at it as, I think I took advantage of that as well, because now I'm seeing this, I'm like, yeah, all right, like you ain't, but never disrespectful. But in my mind, I'm like, man, y'all ain't.
It's only so much y'all
Yeah.
on that.
Right. So was you 1 foot in and 1 foot out in high school when you was hooping and shit?
I think I had started off, me and my bro, we had started off on the block. I'm sneaking before my parents really, fell off into that. I'm sneaking, doing little stuff, but it wasn't nothing crazy. But it was like once after my senior year of high school, and I'm like, man, it's either I'm not going to, I don't know if I'm finna get a full D1 scholarship somewhere. So what am I finna do for real? You know what I'm saying? What I'm finna do? And that's when I really was like, man, I gotta make a decision. And I ended up going to East West University, which was still in the city, and it gave me access to still be in the city, and then really just let my hair down from there.
So this was around what, 1920? You was like 19, 20 years old when this occurred?
Yeah. I would say 19. I would say 19. And what happened then was I had met the mother of my oldest son around Pulaski. This is when it really like took off. I had met the mother of my oldest son. I was hustling out west, and I met her. And I don't know if we have even put this on record, but her brother was hustling for some guys on Pulaski, and they was they were doing like 20 a day, but he was kind of moving kind of crazy. He was bringing the bundles to her house, and I'm like, he jeopardizing the house and ooh, nah, this what you finna do. So they had bags this big. I'm still youngin' in the game. I told her every bag come through there, chop it. She started chopping every bag that come through there. When I come home, I got a book. So I'm taking that out west with me. It's free.
Right.
So now I'm like, okay, I'm seeing the way this going.
You see how?
And I'm getting my weight up now, cause now it's all free. So now I'm playing the game however I want to play it now at this point. And then after a while, I'm like, man, I gotta figure out a move. I need to get over there because they really getting to it.
Right.
So I then end up eventually coming over that way. And by the time I done made it over there, I'm young. I'm 19 years old. I got 2 cars, rims on them, sounds on them. And the guys from over there, people me like, man, who is this? You know?
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? Then it was crazy from there because the same guy whose situation I was we was cutting into, he ended up taking a liking to me, and then I took a liking to him, and then I just really shut everything I had going on out west and just came on Pulaski full time, really, at that point.
So you actually had a block over there, or you was just freelancing?
On Pulaski?
Yeah.
I ended up getting my block. What happened was I had my block out west on Mayfield. Then when I shut that down, stuff went crazy. One of my little cousins got killed. We got into it with some good friends of ours. Over some females, we ended up going. It was just a bunch of stuff that made me like, man, I don't want to put myself in a position where I got to do something to somebody or somebody do something serious to me where I end up in jail. So I really was basically letting that cool down and let me get out here and, you know what I'm saying, a fresh face, young, and in it. So what I did was I started overseeing the blocks on Pulaski, on Jackson and Pulaski. So I'm overseeing a block over there, and I was doing good. But one day while over there, I met a older lady, and we started kicking it. And one day I was something happened where I went up to Just Tires. Her brother was working at this tire shop, and it was a Mexican in there. I'm in there with a cutlass with some rims on it, this and that. So he peeping me like, this dude must be hustling. And so what happened, so the Mexican asked her brother who was working at the tire shop, man, who is dude? What he on? And her brother was like, you know, he hustled a little bit, woo. And the Mexican cut into me. And when he cut into me, he was like, man, what you do? I said, man, and I'm lying. I'm basically telling him like I can move it,
right?
Because I see, yeah. And the man tried me out.
For sure.
2 days later, he gave me 2 bricks. I'm working bundles, overseeing the block. This man gave me 2 keys. And my thought process at the time, because I'm a thinker, I'm like, I know I'm not finna get this off in bags because I don't have a joint to get it off on and move it that fast, but I wanted to move it like this. So I immediately I'm like, man, I'm finna find a way to get these off. So I went back on the land and said, man, I need to get rid of these like this so that it can give a certain respect level where a dude gonna trust me. And that's what I did. Went over and I did that. Got back with him in 2 days, and he like, oh, you official.
So you moved 2 bricks in 2 days.
But I sold them. I didn't bag them, nothing. Right. I just got rid of them. But I never was selling weight at the time. Right. Everything we was doing was all in bags and bundles.
And he gave it to you for a good number?
Yeah. Gave me a good number. So now it's like, I can get these now and get a block, an actual block now, and do my own numbers.
And go crazy.
And after that, I told dude, I said, man, I'm out of here. So now I went and got with, that's when I ended up on Hammond and Monroe. I made a decision and got with one of my bros over there, and the rest was history. That's when nobody knew I was a traveler. They thought, even to this day, a lot of people Because I was so heavy on Pulaski, they like, man, y'all talking about foe money? Nah, money was always a traveler.
Right.
You know, but they just assumed that I was a foe because of how the respect and the honor that I got from them young brothers over there. But it just really came from when I came on Pulaski, it was like I showed a different type of love, like that they hadn't saw before. Everybody eating. Anybody go to jail, they can get bonded out the same day they coming home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was a different type of love that they had never saw before. So they looking like this our chief. You know what I'm saying?
Right, for sure.
And I ran into some issues because of that. Because they had a certain respect level and an honor for me than they had for their actual chiefs.
Nigga gonna follow who feeding them. Point blank period.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, right? Because you was getting money back then when it was good money. Tell me what was a good week like? What did it look like?
Blocks, I would say I could do on a light block, I could do 50. I could do 50 in a week, and that ain't even count weight. And I'm supplying the whole. I had about 70% of the West Side, so you can look. Like I would go to a certain spot, and I'm so humble. I can go and I see all these guys. And they got cars. I had cars too, but you'll see them. They had their Benz, they this and that, and I'm playing the background, and you know they getting it from you, right. But everybody thinking that it's really them. Right. And I was young, 20, 21. Remember I opened a gym, I had built a gym out in Maywood, all that. Nobody knew this stuff because I still was in college. I'm still out of town weekly. I'm still out of town playing basketball. Mm-hmm. So nobody really knew what was going on. And then I wasn't talking on no phones, and I wasn't voicing, oh yeah, like I wanted to play the background because Joker was getting took out the way.
Yeah, for sure. I remember that, man, because I think R. Kelly came up there a few times.
R. Kelly used to come to my gym every single night. People don't understand. He would come at like 11 or 12. He rented out. He paid my whole lease. I charged him $3,800 a month. And even when he was on the road, the check was still the check. So I put a mortgage company on top. And then I built out a basketball court and put a restaurant. And so on Fridays, I let the kids skate off the street, let them come in and skate. I put a tarp down on the basketball court. And I really took the theme from my guy, Sean Ivey from Pulaski. Shout out to Sean. They call him Hog. He should go rent out hoops to gym every week. So we pay $100 an hour. Well, he would pay it out of pocket, $100 an hour. And everybody from everywhere come and hoop. So I'm looking at it as a young man, I'm like, man, we gonna let these people get all the bread?
Right.
Nah. That's for people who thinking about staying in the streets for the rest of their life. I always had a plan to get out of the streets because it never was in me to be in the streets anyway. That ain't what I had for me. I just wanted to create a lane to make sure me and my family was good. So I went and opened that space up, and I started charging $75 an hour so I can generate all the traffic to my spot. So I started getting Jamal Crawford, R. Kelly, all the NBA players, everything started pulling up to my joint. And nobody knew that was mine.
Right. And speaking of the NBA players, right, I remember you had a relationship with Luther Head.
Oh,
tell me what was that like?
That's, that was my son. Yeah. $1,500 a week allowance while he was young. Look, he hadn't even made it nowhere, and it wasn't about the money. I loved his humility. I knew he had a certain type of game on him, and because I played ball, and I just respected it. I treated him like he was my son. I got the Big Ten championship ring and everything. Yeah. Like he treated me like I was his pops. Mm-hmm. But that's a story for another day. When them people came and got me, people got in his ear, and it kind of affected the relationship. To me, I think it did. And then a lot of it, he was young and coming to that NBA. Coming to that money, and then so many people pulling at him, and you don't have an individual like me around to be a presence who've been around. I felt like I get around NBA guys and be like, I don't care. I felt like I had the league money already, so I had already been in that position and came into that type of money, so I could have helped guide that situation better, but I wasn't around for it, so I think that's a lot of what affected it and affected the relationship. But that's my son.
So do you still talk to him?
Yeah, we don't talk like how we used to, but yeah, man. I came home, it was all love. Like I wasn't upset with him. Everybody thought, you finna be mad. No, I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Because I understood, how we are as a community. you know, you can get a check for $3 million and they take half of it in taxes, and now you got to pay your agent, and now everybody else. It's not no real money, but now you done bought a house, a car, 2 cars for you, a car for your girl, sister, and the money is gone.
Right.
And now you under this type of pressure to perform, you might get injured. So it's like so many different elements playing that, you know.
So then when you had got out, we're gonna talk about that in a minute, but when you got out, did Luther Head like reach for you, like throw you a couple dollars or something to get on your feet or something, or it was just like, I'm in a tight position right now, I can't do it for you?
When I got out?
Yeah. Because I know I saw it. I was there and I saw you take care of him, so I just wanted to know.
When I got out, it had got so crazy. I looked out for him, honestly.
When you got out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, shout out to Luther Head. I never met him in person. I love this game.
Man, humble. Love him.
You know what I'm saying? But shout out to that man, and I wish him much success.
No doubt.
But so now we fast forward. So now you getting money, because I remember when you bought that motherfucking blue drop top Benz. Boy, you fucked the
Lexus, yeah. That's
I think you was the first nigga in Chicago with that motherfucker.
That, and
boy,
remember that the big face Escalade. Only person had it was me and Forehead.
You the one made me buy one.
Yeah, me and Forehead.
You had the
blue
blue
one. We the
one.
ones that had it. I had a maroon one.
Right.
I had a maroon. I think Forehead had a white one. Rest in peace. We the first one to drop them out.
I remember when Forehead, the first day he bought that motherfucker, because I was up at Lady Dies on
I remember
Laramie,
Lady
right
Dies.
off Laramie was the Lake Street.
This 01?
2000.
2000.
I remember it.
So
we had a,
when you say your run started?
my crazy run, it was 2000.
2000.
Yeah.
In 99, 2000.
Okay.
I remember when Forehead first bought that motherfucker, because he paid him like an extra dub to get it early.
Yeah.
And he pulled up on me and JD. Me and JD was standing in front of Lady Dies. He pulled up in that motherfucking white one. I never forget
He had a white.
that.
I had a
and
red.
I'm like, what the fuck is that? If I ain't mistaken, it might have been 99, because there was a 2000 Escalade that came out the year before.
Yeah, I think they had it on. It was a Cadillac dealer in Oak Park. They was getting them a few months early, and that's what got them off the showroom. Even with the Lexus, same thing.
What they was running back then?
Up there, like maybe 67. Like my Lexus, I paid $71,000 cash. Like cash. Like it was my birthday. I go right in the Lexus dealership. They look, and this in 2001. They looking at me crazy. And I'm like, man, they trying to show me some lease to own or whatever type, pre-owned joints. I'm like, nah, I want this. And
I want that joint.
Get out of here.
That bitch was sick too, boy.
$71K cash money. I had the birth certificate. A lot of jokers went pulling up with some birth certificates, man. Everything you saw. Remember the green shit? Like I used to act a fool with the cars, but I was very humble with what I was doing. But like I did have I love cars, so I would play around with the cars.
You did pop your
stuff
shit.
like that, yeah. But I was more into business stuff. Mall, I tell you, I had opened up a restaurant, and then I was really trying to get the whole strip. But I had the restaurant and then the barbershop. But my barbershop, I had marble stations, and this before the flat screens came out. I created a television viewing. I should have got paid for the invention of a flat screen. But when I dropped the barbershop, I gave it to Maul. And then I told people, when they asked who barbershop it was, that's his. I ain't never ever thought, man, that's my shop. You couldn't have that. He never made it seem like he was working for me and nothing like that. This is Maul's shop.
Been a player since day one.
Ask him.
I can vouch for that.
How was that joint laid out, Maul?
For sure.
Back then.
Yeah, for sure.
So what you say your craziest purchase was? It was that Lexus?
I bought a 6-unit. I bought a 6-unit property, cash back then, and I ended up when the people came. I had sold it before they came to my college basketball coach, and he ended up beating me out for it.
Got over on you.
Yeah, man. Did me bad.
Man,
it's a lot of stuff that started happening once once the people came.
Once
There's
it's
a lot of
down,
stuff that started happening before they came. Like I saw the signs and symbols. One of my guys got kidnapped, cost like maybe like $200 and some work to get him back. That was the first time the feds got like a picture of me. Man, I went out of town. I went out the country, and I was gone 7 days, right? And this really, when my eyes started opening up to how money and greed could change people. I was gone 7 days, and I had a safe house, cemented down to the floor. And before I made it back, it was gone. But they had days, because it took them forever to get it out. And they got me for like $180. But how they got it was they had to dig down deep into the floor and drag it out of the house. They tore all the hardwood floors up in the house because it was that heavy and it still had the concrete on it. So it let me know that it was family.
It was definitely instant.
My father came and he saw it. And when he saw it, he like, I'm in the Bahamas. I'm in Atlanta's Paradise Island. He say, son, somebody then came over to the house. And then, so he in the closet where they did everything yet, but now they I guess they had flipped the house upside down. The man found like $50K in a laundry bag. I was hiding money from myself. It was coming in so crazy, and they stumbled over and they forgot. They made a mistake and left $50. But that happened, and then one time I had a count session with somebody this close to me, and we count like 1.6, and I'm finna see the connect. And he told me, he looked me in the eyes. He said, man, dude ain't making it out of here. Dude ain't making it out of where? Out of here. I'm like, what you talking about? He basically was saying, he's finna knock him.
It's that.
You the bread. And I'm like, I said, you know this dude know my mama, my father. I met his mother, his father. We didn't have a relationship, and we didn't make history in this city. What are you talking about? But that showed me the type of person that the people even around me and close to me, how they was turning. Mm-hmm. Due to the money, and it was coming in so fast and the greed. So it kind of showed me like, man, at any moment, that's why when I look back now, it's like, man, to survive that, it wasn't nothing but divine intervention. It wasn't nothing I was doing. I was smart, I was a thinker, but at any moment, I was around so many wolves, so many. For sure. Like that could have went a different way. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? Through a family, through a close person who I considered a close friend, or anything, because I had too much. My traction was so crazy that nobody knew it really. They couldn't really understand it. They couldn't. And then the people who they thought was the people wasn't really the people. It was, right. You know what I'm saying? It was me. So right. It was crazy, man. But I tell people, they be like, man, when you look back, all that bread, I never had no peace. I never had peace. Every day was stressful because you juggling, you got so much, you got your regular business that you're trying to handle, you got the street business, you got your family, trying to balance all this stuff, and I just never had no peace. For yourself. So my peace really came in that place of confinement and really getting able to get my mindset right, for real.
Yeah, so let's talk about this case, man. What you went to the feds.
We can talk about it from the beginning too, because I think a big misconception about it is when I got jammed up, like the thing with the feds was they didn't even know who I was. They had heard my name, and people, I guess, would get jammed up and would say, mention me, but I was out of town too much with basketball and then my regular travel, and I never talked on phones. I was never sloppy. So they never had an eye on me for real. I told you they had that one picture when my man got grabbed. Other than that, they didn't really know who I was. They only found out, got physical with me, when physically knew who I was they did a one-day investigation on another individual. They was investigating him because I think he bonded somebody out for over $10,000. So they look at, and I guess it was a drug, I don't know what type of case whoever had, but he bonded him out for over 10,000 and they flagged the feds. So the feds put an eye on him. When they put the eye on him, he just so happened to come see me that day. When he came and saw me, when he left, they pulled him over maybe a mile away from where I was at, and he had 2 keys on him, hard. So we had 2 keys on him, and basically, the feds assumed that he got it from me. So they came back to the location where he had just left and ripped the doors down. I think they took like $250,000. They took all the jewelry, left appraisals to the jury so they can show show the government how much money. Why are you showing appraisals and no jury? Where the jury at? So they basically robbed me, and then they confined me, and it's a different ball game, man. Like when that happened, this 03, January 23rd, 2003. But so the critical thing that I'm telling y'all is they ripped through one door, screen door, and then ripped through the front door. We're gonna get back to why that's so critical with my situation. You know what I'm saying? And then they came in, put me under arrest, and they put
So they came back after they took your shit. They came back and got you, or they got you.
No. When they grabbed him, and then they came back to the house and tore the doors down.
So y'all was there when all this was happening.
Yeah, this was in a matter of minutes.
Oh, okay.
Once I'm still in the house. When he left, they popped him for whatever they had going on, and then they doubled back to the house,
kicked the door in,
kicked the doors in, and put me under arrest. And then they robbed me, took the car, took the truck, took everything, and then basically, in that moment, you never thinking like, no matter how much bread I was making, I'm not thinking like, the feds is here. You know, you feel like the feds there. You like this John Gotti, Al Capone type situation. Yeah, you like it's over for real. But even young like that, I think having money like that was really something that saved me, because I was a little like, man, it's whatever. I got paper, you know what I'm saying?
We can fight it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be whatever with me. So they was coming in because and then me being naive to the government, I didn't know how they work. I didn't know all these dudes was telling. I didn't know all these dudes was copping out for pleas. I had no idea. I just knew how the streets go. Man, you get jammed up, you take your lick. This, whatever the case is gonna be, this is on you. You know what you signed up for. You know, that's the critical thing. You know what you signed up for.
So what did they charge you with?
They charged me with conspiracy, and they also charged me with a 924C, a gun enhancement. They say I used a gun in furtherance of the drug crime. They say I was using guns to protect the drugs.
They found some guns extra, when they kicked the crib.
Yeah, that's what they allegedly.
Yeah.
So they that's a 5-year charge on top of whatever they charge on your sentence
for the conspiracy.
Yeah. So all they got what's called guidelines. So they basically showed me the guidelines. Say you looking at over 30 years. I say, how I'm looking at over 30 years? I only been to boot camp. I did 4 months boot camp. They say prior conviction. So now I'm starting to educate myself like, whoa, these people playing a dangerous game. I'm a career criminal and I've only had boot camp before. So now I'm starting to do my homework, my research now. But now they come back and they tell me, hey, listen, if you tell them such and such, you can go home tomorrow.
They literally told you that?
Yeah. And we'll let you out.
Damn.
Now, was you on the case with Keefy Weefy? Was he on the case with you?
Yeah, that's I ain't put his name out, but that's what they pulled over. So a lot of, and I'm gonna show love, because a lot of people was like, dude told on me this and that. When it was showtime, when it was go time to go to trial, that man booted up right next to me and went to trial.
So he stood tall.
He went to trial. He took his lick.
Shout out to Keefy Weefy, man.
Yeah, he took his lick.
Standing tall.
So yeah, I know a lot of rumors said.
Yeah, it was definitely out there. Yeah,
dude,
it was definitely out there that Keefy, because it was rumors that he got bumped and then they came and bumped you.
That's what happened. He got bumped, but they had cameras on him.
They was on his
They was watching him. So when he left me, They knew they coming back to this house anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah,
like
but when it was time to go to trial, he went to trial. You know what I'm saying? And I respect him and love him for that. And not only that, we're gonna get to it later in the show when my conviction went the way it went, they brought him back to try to get him to clock me.
Again.
And he wouldn't. But
That's what's up, man.
but how that went was on my background with that boot camp, I started studying. They got what's called a 851. This is a good game for y'all. A 851 is an enhancement whereas to if you ever all these guys be taking probation or just playing out, they were doing a year and a day and all that. That's all they need. Cause now you come align yourself with a guy who at the top of the food chain, they make you a part of my conspiracy. Now you got that background. So they gonna either use it for leverage because you got one conviction. Now they can double your mandatory minimum from 10 to life to 20 to life, being a part of the conspiracy. So you got some of these youngins who only ever had probation. And they coming in, they facing 20 to life, and you think they ain't gonna fold like a pocket knife?
For sure.
They ain't never even did.
Never ever been in. You ain't been in no type of situation where you gotta, and they tell you mandatory. You got 20 coming.
And you ain't got
Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike, and that's how it go. But people don't understand that because they don't know the law. They ain't never been in the belly of that beast. I understood and I studied it, but I just so happened to be a young, naive individual who was just, I wasn't going.
So you was what, 23 when this happened? 24? How old?
I was 23 when they bumped me, and then
so when they came in, when they followed him and they came back and got you, that's when they basically snatched you up and you had to fight the case.
yeah, that was it. It was game over. They took everything, anything I had, business wise, property wise, that they could tie me to, everything. Yeah.
Damn, you was only 23 years old then, bro.
Yeah. 23.
God damn.
And I got found guilty at 25.
That was just
Damn.
I was fighting for 2 years.
So you sat in there.
How was that process?
It was crazy because during that time I was trying to make bond. So they was giving me hell saying I was a flight risk.
So they didn't give you a number at all?
At first they wouldn't. But then they finally gave me a bond. So I ended up getting a property bond. So I'm out on bond, and it's crazy because the streets talking, it's the feds, this and that, jokers. It's just always gonna be something. So end of the day, we go to trial in May, I think.
How long was you out though on bond?
Close to 2 years.
Oh, so you didn't sit that long in jail?
No. Just I think a month and a half.
Oh, okay, that ain't okay.
Nah.
Cool.
Originally, yeah.
Okay.
So you fought the case for 2 years.
From the world though.
Yeah.
You wanna know.
And then got found guilty.
Okay, so let's stop right there.
All right.
They told you fighting 25 years to life, right?
Yeah.
You come to court, you've been fighting this for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Judge come in, boom, guilty. How did you feel?
I think I was numb because I thought I thought no matter what, I was still gonna be able to come home and get my affairs in order. I done been out on bond. I saw the marshals get behind me, and at that point it was like, oh, it's over. And then I already knew the time I was facing, so now they done found me guilty.
But you don't know your time yet.
But I know it's a number. I know it's at least 30 because this is what they've been telling me.
Right.
So I'm like, oh.
Prior to going to court, did you have any thoughts of leaving?
I never did because I felt like, I told you I was so naive. I felt like I can beat it with money. And I went through like 4 or 5 lawyers. I would get, who was Larry Hoover lawyer? Okay, yeah, give me them. Give them 50. They beat me out. Who was Willie Lloyd lawyer? Oh, give me him. They go another 50. And then I ended up at the end, I had Fly lawyer. I had Anita Carruthers. I had Anita Carruthers, but I had Goldberg too, just that, rest in peace. So I had all of the big name attorneys, but I can't say Anita was working with, she wasn't working with them, but the other lawyers a lot of lawyers I was using knew I was young and I had money and I was dumb to the system, but they really were just trying to sell me out to them like, man, you need to take a plea. I thought I just gave you $50,000, you want me to come take a plea? I could have taken a plea with a public defender.
Right. So what was the hardest pill to swallow? When they told you was guilty or when they told you had 25 years? Which one felt like the dagger to the heart where it's like, this reality, goddamn, they got me?
What's crazy is I think the guilty, because they was throwing life around and all of that. So it was like, my whole thing once I got found guilty was to get a number that I felt like I could stand and try to fight back from that number. So after that, that's when I hired Anita to try to get like my sentence, get the best number I could get, this and that. And honestly, she did the best she could because the judge still said he was gonna give me more. He didn't feel comfortable giving me more time than my actual age. He said, man, you maintained a 3.7 GPA, you starred in basketball, you just two different people. We do not understand. He said, I've never saw anything like this where a guy could be on this type of level and still maintain his school like this and do all this other stuff. But what was crazy was leading up to my trial, they got what's called kangaroo court. It's a bunch of guys from the joints who found out I was locked up. And one guy in particular told the feds he was getting X amount of work from me. This is how crazy they work. They was working. He said he was getting X amount of work from me. And they brought him to, I guess they was gonna take his statements, and he was gonna get like, I think he was getting like 5 years off of his sentence. But the thing was, back then, nobody was going to trial. So I was gonna take a plea, and he would have still got 5 years off because he said he got like 8 keys from me in a 3-month span or whatever. Mm-hmm. He found out I was going to trial. So at this time, you know, you go to trial, you get to face your accuser. Now he got to take the stand, and I got all them guys in the courtroom, and
I never had
did no business with this man.
But did he at least know?
He knew who I was, but I did zero business
because
with him.
He thought you were gonna just take the plea.
I take the plea, he'd get out. But what he did was, once he found out I was going to trial, he's like, oh, I can't do it. So they sent him back. Yeah. So that just show you how diabolical the feds is. Damn. So now I get sentenced, and then I get...
how long was your sentencing process?
I got sentenced to 25 years.
No, I'm saying, but from the time you got guilty, how long before you got your time?
Once I got found guilty, they do like this pre-sentencing, PSI, all this other stuff, where I was coming back at 340 months and all these... Man, it was 360 months. That was coming back at 360 months to life. I say through my pre-sentencing, I'm like, how? I'm telling you again, I still only been to boot camp. You know what I'm saying? So, but once they got you, it's like, man, they made me out to be a monster. Right. Put it like that. So when I went to, like I said, when I went to sentencing, the judge was like, man, I don't feel comfortable giving him more time than he is old. So he sentenced me under the guidelines, which that was unheard of. People don't get under the guidelines back then. So I ended up getting 25. And when I went back to the back, Anita was like, whoo, she's celebrating. I'm like, what you celebrating?
The fuck?
I just got a quarter. Yeah,
she didn't get paid, but I'm like, why are we celebrating? She said, Greg, I'm telling you. She said, the time you got, you shouldn't have got that. She said, they didn't sentence you correctly. And if you go try to appeal this sentence, you're going to get more time. She flat out told me that. She said, look at it on the bright side. You still young. This is a sister telling me this. I respected her. I respect her because she's a good woman and she was a good attorney. I'm not going to take that away from her. But she, I guess, according to how the feds work, and she saw it. She saw this movie so many times. She's like, man, do not appeal this case. Go do that time and come out young and younger. I'm like,
and you 25 at this time?
Yeah. Man, wanted me to take 25. Yeah.
Damn.
So I'm trying to figure out, so how did it make you feel like when you got 25 years and you only 25 years old?
Right. I didn't even know how to think, bro. So like I was numb, and like the transition was so fast. Like I got designated, shit me out of there, because now I got this time. But how the feds was playing me was, because I was playing hardball, I went to trial and all this, and they wanted to show me a lesson. They sent me to a joint where I had the most time in the whole joint.
In the Fed, you was in Illinois or the
Nah,
shit you
I was in Minnesota. They sent me to Waseca, Minnesota. And I had the most time in the whole joint. They sent me to a joint where guys was going home every day.
What?
And they was going home on furlough, like going home for weekend visits, everything. Like
They
that's-
teasing you to.
You know, that plays on a
Right,
man's
right.
psyche.
Oh, yeah,
My
for
outdate,
sure.
I got 25 years. They never supposed to put you in a position where guys is. They want you to. You should be in a spot where you're gonna jail program with guys like you. You don't put. But they did it to try to mess with my mental. You know what I'm saying?
Yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
What I want to see. So, what evidence did they have on you to convict you? Because
They basically-
and like we're gonna talk about how it overturned.
Yeah.
What was
they
the
basically,
evidence?
They basically gave me the work that they charged me on a conspiracy because now I'm part of his conspiracy. They give me the work that he got. That he
So
got caught with.
basically, a conspiracy. They have to prove it's an organization.
Yeah,
basically.
two or more. So
Okay.
they
But it
saying
wasn't
me and him
undercovers.
conspired.
Okay.
And then they got what's called relevant conduct. So they'll say, okay, you've been selling X amount of keys for X amount of years or whatever, and they'll just give you a drug amount.
And
You gonna
all
get-
it up.
and
like
it's
a
ghost
credit
dope.
score.
And it's ghost dope. And that's you're gonna get the time for
But
it.
it was never no undercover serves or nothing like that.
Never.
None of that.
Never, none of it.
So they convict you. They give you your time. How much time did you do before you started feeling like, okay, it's time to fight this and appeal this shit?
Nah, right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
When I went in, like I done saw two hangings. I done saw brothers killing
That's
themselves.
what I want to ask you. What was that experience like
Oh,
when
it
you
was
get
crazy.
there?
It
Once
was
you get
crazy.
to Minnesota, you said, right?
It was crazy. I saw one hanging. I saw was I'm on a visit. I'm on a
This at
visit
the
with a
jail
brother.
Where everybody going home daily? Or this
This
when you
is
get
a
transferred?
MCC building.
How long before you get transferred there?
I went to MCC first. That's why I went there. That's Chicago, downtown
Okay,
Chicago.
cool.
So
Fair
I'm on a
enough.
visit. Yeah, I'm on a visit with a guy. He just see his daughter. His daughter like, man, don't I look just like my daddy? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. They visit was right next to me. And so I don't know if that touched him a certain way. He had 15 years, man. We went in from the visit. Usually when you come in from the visit, you go lock down for a minute. Then you come out for chow.
Mm-hmm.
He never came out. He hung himself.
Damn.
So I witnessed two hangings. I'm talking about he was light, like your complexion. The man, when they rolled the door, he was my complexion within a matter of like a hour span.
Damn.
It's like I don't know if when it's just that visit. I don't know if the kid mother said something to him crazy because that's the thing. So mentally, brothers dealing with so much. You got to be on high alert because you don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
That should have killed you. It'd
Right.
make you crack.
Or you had been and killed somebody for nothing.
Definitely.
So people don't understand. Like people get prison mixed up. Like, of course, they got homophobic stuff going on, all this and that, but that ain't prison. That ain't jail. Jail is this psychological warfare that guys is dealing with real life issues. Guys got to go shower in boots. Because they into it, we opposition. They
Definitely.
got knives this big. Yeah, you can security outside while you showering. Like it's so many other things that go to jail except that foolery they try to put on. And then, like I said, I never experienced any of this.
Right.
I came right in and had to experience all of
On the
it.
news.
All of it.
So when you got to jail, was you like the man? Did you get a respect level?
Oh yeah,
It was like-
I was still who I was.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially because not only I was money from the streets, but it's a certain respect level they have for a guy who went to trial. You got to think you in a community of guys who done told
You fought
to
the
police.
state.
I went to trial with the feds, so
For
now
sure.
it's like, oh, he official. And then the other thing was I still had my elite basketball talent, so I boosted the morale of the joint.
You was busting
Like, everybody
ass in the
was.
feds.
Man, I got a legacy so crazy basketball wise. Like from MCC building, I never lost. Then I get down to the feds, I never lost a game in the federal prison system. They used to bring, when I got to Minnesota, they had a NBA player, Chris Carr, who used to play for Minnesota Timberwolves. They brought him into the facility and they had a whole joint surrounded. It felt like you at the United Center. So at that moment, once I had that type of clout in the joint, I started looking at it like I was in college. So I had blacked out. I wasn't in prison no more. So from that point on, my mindset shifted, and I just changed, man, completely. Like, I think what happened was I really had to sit down. I understood the time, but I never claimed it. But once I understood the harm that I caused my community, like, I never looked at that. I took care of so many families and did so much good. Never was no snake. Wasn't about no violence, just was about money. Anytime violence came into play, I'm trying to squash it, because I've always had the mindset of, y'all won, you can't eat. So anywhere I go in the city, I'm trying to squash whatever so people could really get money. Sure, I'm not about, not about that other aspect of it. But so I'm thinking like, man, I'm straight. But when I really sat down and I evaluated how, you know what I'm saying, what I was doing and how I was supplying the city and this and that, it's like, I felt like so many youngsters, like so many boys or girls didn't get to that proper nurturing from their mother, father, uncle, or brother, because of they were strung out on the poison that I was providing, or their brother, whoever was working for me. So that kid who could have been a doctor, lawyer, athlete, whatever they didn't fulfill that full potential, because I played a part in that. And once I understood that, my mindset shifted completely. Like, I had tunnel vision. I knew I needed to come home, and I knew that I needed to set the tone and make a difference from that point on. And it was like, after that, stuff started to happen in my case. My father went to my appellate hearing. He like, you coming home? I'm like, all right. You know, I didn't think it was gonna be that soon. I'm thinking it's gonna be a fight.
That's what I want to ask you. Like, what? So when you came back on appeal, what evidence that you present that wasn't presented in the beginning that got you out of jail?
It was the same evidence that was presented. But what happened was, they really not letting they conviction rate so high, they not really letting nobody win on that, just straight out on a conspiracy right there. That's a difficult task.
Even if you're right, they still gonna convict you.
So it's like, you gotta go through the appellate court, and it's 3 judges. So this for everybody out there who was speculating when I came home. You know, joking like, man, 25 years sentence, how he home? How do home? Or he told, nobody ever who was close to me, anybody around me, ever got touched or questioned about nothing.
How long was that process?
I almost did 5 years.
Okay.
But I came home on 4th Amendment, illegal search and seizure. It's in black and white when you text my name in. You know, a lot of guys hate because you see one of the most solid to ever come from out of our city, you know, known everywhere, all over BOP, from the west side of Chicago, where I done saw some of y'all favorites fold like pocket knives. I'm telling you, some of your killers. Like, I never exposed none of these guys, but I saw it on the daily, and they know I know. They know I know they got them skeletons in their closet, but I'm just so solid. It's like, I see you, big fella. I never exposed you, you know? But I saw the toughest of the toughest in them prisons, doing all type of goofiness. And then they come back on these streets and you think it's something different, but I know. Yeah. But yeah, I got 4th Amendment violation, legal search and seizure. So my whole case is in black and white.
So from that point where they ran in there and took your shit, that's what that was?
Tore the one door down, tore the other door down. What they supposed to do was got a telephonic search warrant at a minimum. They didn't even have to wait to go in no courts because they felt like.
So they had
they felt like they had right, but they still had to get proper authority.
Yeah, but they felt like we the federal government, we'll do this, and then we gonna write some paperwork, and it's just gonna work out the way it work out. So what happened with me don't happen. It never happens.
So basically, they caught you in the right. They just wrote it down wrong.
No, they didn't go the right way.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They didn't go about it the legal way.
But they didn't go about the legal way, and you still had, just because he came and saw me, you don't equate whatever he got caught with to me. Anyway.
Oh, so they put all that on you. Well, he got caught with too.
They made it both of our. Right. It's a conspiracy, so it now becomes both of ours.
Right, now when they kick the door in, whatever they find is a plus 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got back off illegal search and seizure. So that really made basically like fruit of a poisonous tree, because anything that come with that, the gun, any of this stuff, really supposed to go out the door. So they really just like, the whole case is BS on my part. They didn't overturn Keith's case, but they overturned my conviction, and Like, and it was crazy how they did
So
it.
why
I'm down
do
at
you
the
think
gym.
they overturned yours and not his?
He didn't have no Fourth Amendment violation. They had probable cause to pull him over. I had illegal search and seizure.
Oh, okay.
He didn't have that.
Cool.
So they overturned. So I'm at the gym, at the joint, and they call me. They like, man, and it was like urgent, like you had to get back. So I'm thinking somebody then came up with a memory and finna give me another case.
At this point, how long had you been going with the appeal process?
3.5 years.
So it was 3.5 years for you to get that, the judges and all that?
Yeah, it was a fight.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so now they called me, so now I'm shook. I'm like, man, who lying now? Or who didn't call the memory now? So now I goes in there and I get on the phone and I can hear the whole attorney office going crazy. Shout out to Jenna and Block, man. My father's like, man, I don't know who you hired, but it was like the Johnny Cochran vermin. I felt like Johnny Cochran around this, and I thought he was bluffing. He like, nah, I'm telling you, son, you coming home. He told me that. And a few months later, because I guess they made their decision, but it didn't come down to the 7th Circuit until like some months after that. And sure enough, they was on the phone celebrating. Say, man, your conviction been overturned, your sentence vacated, man. And
How you feel?
I didn't know how to feel, bro.
Was you like happy, numb, like you?
It was another numb experience because it was like my out day was 2027. It's like
don't seem far now, but
right, then it was far. So it's like
for sure.
It was forever at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Forever, ever.
Man, they was calling me and my bro CK. Shout out to CK. They was calling us Eddie and Martin because we both had a gang of time.
Yeah.
And everybody was going home. Like, man, y'all gonna close the joint down. Ooh, you know, all the jokes. And then I end up winning my appeal and beating all them dudes home.
That's what's up, man.
How much is it for an appeal? How much did you spend to come?
Every lawyer is different, but in attorney fees alone, I spent probably $300,000. Cause I spent like $75,000 just for one trial lawyer alone, just for the trial lawyer. And then my initial retainer lawyer, I spent $50,000. He only came to court one time.
For all y'all at home,
he came to court one time, and I found out that he was gonna try to get me to take a plea and work with it, and I fired him and thought I was gonna be able to get the bread back, but I had retained him and I never got that money back.
Okay, so before we get out of here, man, I want you to tell me. So now you got fast forward, you beat your case, you got out, you on some positive shit because I fuck with your music, you know.
Right, yeah, for sure.
You know, you got the Realionaire tape out, and I wanted to know what is your message that you're trying to bring with your style of music, because you know obviously it's not the norm. Everybody got the shoot 'em up, bang shit, you know, and you've actually lived the life that they talked about,
right?
You know, and so now you taking a different approach, and what is the message that you are trying to give off?
I just feel like, and it's not a knock to us as a people because, well, it's a knock, but it ain't a knock because I know a lot of people deal with different circumstances and you trying to feed your family, trying to take them out of an impoverished state. Like me, I did what I had to do, you know, self-preservation kicked in at a time, you know, it wasn't the right thing, but I did do certain things that I'm not proud of. But I think through the music, it's being used as a tool to poison us even more. So it's poisoning the youth, especially because they're more susceptible to influence. They're more easily influenced now because ain't no real guidance. And then, so you don't have nobody telling these youngsters right from wrong, or they scared to tell them right from wrong, you know? So I felt like through my music and my experience, my life experiences, I could talk to them about the flip side, you know? So I still speak on certain stuff, but I still tell them this is the real message. Don't do this because this could end up being like this. And this really happened to me for real, because it's like when you lead by, like I do public speaking as well. So when you lead by example, like through entrepreneurship, like that's what I do as well. Like, you know, when I came, like I said, I relocated, shifted my entire mindset, just became a serial entrepreneur all the way around the board and just cut out that cut that out all around the board. So it was like, man, just really just coming together and just doing my thing, man. And I just felt like I needed to clean the music up.
And I see you
Create
working,
some
man.
balance.
I see you out here. You performing and you speaking to the youth, and like you really putting that work in, man. Like you ain't just talking it, you actually walking it. You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful thing, man. That you believe in yourself like that. You know what I mean? And man, we just want to give you flowers and tell you, man, congratulations, and I'm proud of you, brother.
I appreciate it, man. I'm proud of you, man.
You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you coming down to Not the Shop podcast, man. Man, get these people where they can reach you at, and your clothing line and all that.
Again, realionaire_money on Instagram. Realionaire lifestyle collection for the brand. Also authored a book called Background Check. You can get that on Instagram as well, Background Check. The book on IG. Just a lot of different things going on, a lot of moving pieces. But I'm looking to do a lot more, man. Like I say, I'm passionate about what I'm doing. Ain't no half stepping, man. I'm really a realionaire, man.
For
That's
sure.
what it's about.
A lot, man.
For sure, man.
It's a blessing having you for sure, man.
It's up, man. Not the Shop podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tune in next time.